of South Jersey. This is Game Night with Josh Hennick.
Let's go!
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
Let's go!
Now live from inside the Ocean Casino Resort Studio, here's Josh Hennick.
Josh Hennick here on a Football Friday here in the Ocean Casino Resort Studios on 97.3 ESPN. Before we get to the Eagles injury report, before we get to everything we're going to do, by the way, Andy McNamara will join us coming up in less than 20 minutes. We're going to get more into Eagles, Rams in the NFL. Mike Gill is still in the studio. And Mike, we were doing the Stump the Sports Geek earlier, and you're informing me that we have a correction.
Well, you had answered that Darryl Dawkins was the first player to be drafted to the NBA out of high school. Moses Malone was technically the first player drafted from high school, but he was drafted to the ABA before the merger.
Okay.
Which would make Darryl Dawkins the first that was drafted to the NBA. Malone to the ABA. The question was the first player from high school to the NBA. That would make Dawkins correct, and that means 7 correct answers, not 6.
I feel like I just won the batting title on a technicality.
Well, the people who had 7 are now rejoicing because they are now in the running for 99 growlers.
So I will reach out to the person after game night is done. If you guess 7 for Stump the Sports Geek, you are in the running.
Like this guy says, this segment is very obviously choreographed. The questions are slow as Josh looks up his answers. He got 5 wrong.
6 wrong. But now it's 5, yeah.
If it was choreographed for you to answer to look up the questions, you didn't do a very good job today. I mean, what kind of idiot do you have to be to think that you got questions wrong? Not to mention the Met question, which would have been pretty easy to find if you were looking it up. I'm sitting right across from you. You think I'm going to ask the questions and have you sit across from me looking them up? You know me. I'm very anti-cheating in these things.
Yes. You have called people out before in these situations.
Yeah, when you cheat on the trivia stuff, what's the purpose? What would be the purpose of choreographing that segment?
This isn't WWE.
You got to be a really warped idiot to think that. Why would I care if you got 0 right or 12? What difference does it make to me?
I feel like this is an example of someone who's watched too much professional wrestling.
I don't even know that you have to watch professional wrestling to be that much of a fool. Like, what? I just don't understand what gain would. I don't know who would gain from that. Like, I have no. Why would I want?
Are we in cahoots with the people who guessed 7?
Well, I can't see that. I can't see that until after the fact. When you, I mean, there were so many text messages I can't keep up with them. I mean, but I don't understand. Like, what would your mind tell you to say? I can't even come up with a reason.
I don't have a good reason either.
So I corrected it because I did notice that the answer sheet that I had said Malone was drafted to the ABA, and the question I asked was the NBA. So
right, so you had a wait a minute moment.
I wanted to make sure that I updated that.
Like
this
Mike,
is like a 3-point shot that they have to go back to
and review it.
Yeah, like Martin the other night, he hit a 3, but it was actually a 2. They changed the score. It was 90. They went down to 89, but it was like 3 minutes later.
See, I was thinking more like a guy who gets on base due to an error, and then they roll it later to be a base hit.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I already sold the joke, Josh.
Yeah, you know.
All right.
Well, good job, by the way, Mike. Thanks. And thanks, everybody, for listening and participating on the text board, which is 609-403-0973. As I stated before, we got to get to the Eagles injury report, though, because there is a significant bit of news with the injury report, which is, now, if you were following what was going on this week, maybe you're not overly surprised, but it is a little surprising that Devontae Smith has been ruled out for Sunday Night Football in Los Angeles against the Rams. He is the only player ruled out for the game. And the reason why for some of you may be surprising is because you would have thought, okay, well, you had extra time between Thursday Night Football last week and Sunday night this week in order to be able to go out there and play. But apparently the Eagles, which I think they're doing the right thing, are being extra cautious with Smith. Remember, A.J. Brown and Dallas Goedert, they both missed 3 games. Jordan Mailata, 4 games. So, he missed 4 games. So, 4 games. So, he missed 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 4 games. So, he miss you have a team that has already shown you that they are extra cautious. They do not take risks with these guys' health, these players' health and injuries. So that in many ways, I think, is the larger reason why Smith is not playing. He also did not practice at all this week, including today. And so Devontae Smith will not play on Sunday Night Football when the Rams take on the Eagles. Here's the ramifications of that. As I wrote about at 97.3 ESPN.com, we are going to learn more about who is going to play on Sunday. We're going to learn about it tomorrow afternoon. Why is that? Because Britton Covey is currently listed as questionable for this game. But he's also not been activated from injured reserve. So the Eagles have until 4 o'clock tomorrow to activate Britton Covey from injured reserve. If they activate him, you can expect the Eagles receiving unit to be Covey in the slot with Jahan Dotson as the one outside receiver across from A.J. Brown. If Britton Covey is not activated, then you're probably going to see some combination of rookie Johnny Wilson, veteran Paris Campbell, and a good dose of Grant Calcaterra. So part of what you're going to see on Sunday night will not be determined until tomorrow afternoon. But the reason why some of this is significant is because, one, you're losing one of the best wide receiver tandems in all of football. And number two, you're going against a Rams team that, let's be realistic, you're going against a Rams team that has a good pass rush, but a bad secondary. How good is that Rams pass rush? Mike Mayock on the Believe in Eagles podcast, former NFL player and NFL GM, said this.
Kobe Turner and Byron Young that were really good. And then they went out and drafted two guys this year from Florida State, Jared Verse in the first round and Braden Fisk in the second round. So their front four is one of the most talented, young, aggressive, tough front fours in all of football. It's going to be a challenge.
It's a little bit of a wild thing, though, because the Rams, they are bottom 10 of the NFL in passing yards allowed and passing touchdowns allowed. But they have more sacks this year than the Pittsburgh Steelers. So their pass rush is getting the quarterbacks. So is this a Rams team, though, that is going to be willing to risk the back end of their defense to get pressure on the quarterback or to stop Saquon Barkley? Or do they dare the Eagles to keep running the ball and not pass the ball? Which, frankly, would be stupid, because if the Rams are as smartly coached as we think they are, they won't do that. I think the Rams' best path defensively is to shut down the Eagles' run game and dare the Eagles to beat them through the passing game. Remember, the Philadelphia Eagles have thrown the fewest passes in the NFL this year. The fewest of any team in the NFL. But yet, they're top 10 in the league in points per game. They're top 6 in the league in total yards. This is a team that has done a great job at maximizing their passing opportunities and leaning into the run game. As Tony Dungy said on the Takeoff with John Clark podcast, of course, Pro Football Hall of Famer Tony Dungy, who will be part of the NBC Football Night in America coverage when the Eagles play the Rams on Sunday night.
When they're balanced, the last 5 or 6 weeks, it's been 38 runs, 20 passes, 42 runs, 24 passes. And that, to me, is Philadelphia football. When they're dictating on the ground and you have to stop the run, then those wide receivers, they're going to eat up one-on-one coverage. And those big fellas are right. They can control the line of scrimmage. When they were in their Super Bowl year, that's what they did. That's what everybody feared.
And what's wild about this is that even if a team tries to stop the run game, we saw against Washington on Thursday Night Football that if you keep running the ball, you stay committed to the running the ball, you will eventually break through. And I think that is a big part of this. As Mike Mayock said, I think that one of the keys for the Eagles on Sunday night is to do the same thing they did on Thursday night. Repeat what got you to win. Mike Mayock on the Believe in Eagles podcast.
If you got a guy like Saquon Barkley and an O-line like the Eagles have, you got to keep at it. You just got to keep chopping wood, and sooner or later that will pay off. And it did in the second half in a big way. When you consistently can run the ball and force them to honor it, it makes Jalen a better quarterback. I was impressed with their ability to stick with the run game, even though they got, two of the best wideouts in the league and the tight end. I give them credit for kind of sticking to it.
You got to give them credit for sticking to it. And I think that is one of my keys for the Eagles this Sunday when Merrill Reese and Mike Quick call all the action. Here you're home for Eagles football in South Jersey, 97.3 ESPN. One of my keys to the game is going to be stick with the run game. Don't let the Rams get in a position to blitz your quarterback. Your goal should be to, 1, protect your quarterback in a road game, and 2, get after the other team's quarterback, because there is something to getting to Matthew Stafford this year. Here's what I mean by that. Did you know that in the Rams' last 4 losses, teams are hitting Matthew Stafford almost 7 times per game? Not even sacks, just getting their body on the quarterback. Well, in the Rams' last 4 wins, they are averaging less than 4 hits on the quarterback per game, 3.75. So the key to disrupting the Rams' passing game with Puka Kupp and Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp. I just inverted their names. Good grief. And stopping Matthew Stafford. You got to hit the quarterback. You got to get a body on him 6 to 7 times. You can win the game. So if you stick to the run game and you hit the quarterback, it sounds like a simple formula, but as we know in the NFL, it may sound simple, but the execution may not be simple. Josh Hennick here on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. We will get to your thoughts, your perspectives on the game a little bit later this hour. 609-403-0973, your DMs into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. But coming up next, Andy McNamara joins us for some more Football Friday conversation and, of course, football picks later in the show. I'm Josh Hennig, hanging out with you in the Ocean Casino Resort studios of Atlantic City here on 97.3 ESPN.
Hi, Notre Dame fans. This is Brian Harris. Join me, Tony Simeone, and Johnny Soper Saturday as your Fighting Irish hit the Big Apple of New York to take on the Army Black Knights in iconic Yankee Stadium. Right here, this Saturday, November 23rd, as Notre Dame invades the house that Ruth built, the legendary Yankee Stadium, to battle the Army Black Knights. And you can catch it all right here.
It's College Football Saturday on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins at 7 p.m.
With GMF financing, qualified buyers excludes Traverse and Corvette excludes prior sales.
Why wait for Black Friday when the biggest Black Friday sale is going on now all month long at Bennett Chevrolet, where you can save up to 20% and more on your new vehicle, because Bennett is selling new vehicles at $1,000 below, yes, $1,000 below the real GM supplier employee price. Plus, you keep all the rebates, saving you up to 20%. But of course, there's more with available 0% financing. Looking for used? Bennett Bennett's giving a minimum $10,000. A minimum 10 grand for your trade, no matter its condition, towards any pre-owned in stock. Imagine what you'll get for a good trade if Bennett's paying a minimum 10 grand for total junk. Bennett's deals are unbeatable during our Black Friday sales event, and there's never any hassles or sales pressure because our non-commissioned sales staff is paid on your satisfaction, not how much you spend. The best Black Friday sales going on now at Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
Time to work on your gift list with Black Friday deals at the Home Depot. Right now, get a select tool from top brands like Ryobi and Milwaukee for free when you buy a select battery kit. Choose from reciprocating saws, multi-tools, sanders, and more. Whether you're stocking up on power for your personal workshop or grabbing the perfect gift for someone else's. Get Black Friday tool deals delivered from the Home Depot. Limit 1 per transaction. Exclusions apply. Full eligible tool list in-store and online.
Hi, it's Pete from Chickie and Pete's. Wrap up your workday with the all-new Chickies and Pete's Happy Hour with unbeatable specials weekdays from 4 to 6 p.m. Enjoy half-price orders of Chickies medium tender wings, one of our tasty and delicious pizzas, or an order of mouth-watering hot, cold, or fried shrimp. Plus $3 domestic bottled beers, $5 Tito's, and $6 seltzers. It's the all-new Happy Hour, weekdays, 4 to 6 p.m., only at Chickies and Pete's. Hi, it's Pete from Chickie and Pete's. Now, for a limited time, it's buy one, get one free snow crab legs every Tuesday and Wednesday. Buy one, get one free, and enjoy the sweet, delicate flavor of snowy white crab meat. Pair it with one of our handcrafted cocktails like the Stoli Vanilla Creamsicle or the Bourbon Peach Sweet Tea. Top it off with Chickie and Pete's world famous crab fries. Buy one, get one free snow crab legs every Tuesday and Wednesday for a limited time. Restrictions apply only at Chickies and Pete's.
Happy Honda Days are here at Boardwalk Honda. With over 200 new Hondas in stock and more arriving daily, it's the perfect time to find your next car. Right now, enjoy huge savings off MSRP on select models and enjoy interest rates as low as 0.9% APR. Financing for up to 60 months on the new 2024 Honda Provolone. But don't wait. Happy Honda Days won't last forever. Don't miss out. Stop by today or visit them online at HondaBoardwalk.com. That's HondaBoardwalk.com.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
Progressive Insurance presents the Sports Flash on 97.3 ESPN. The Sixers back home tonight as they take on the Brooklyn Nets. Philadelphia back from a 3-game road trip and have dropped 5 straight games. On Wednesday night, they lost to Memphis, dropping to 2-12 on the season. Joel Embiid did have 35 points and 11 rebounds in that loss. They'll play their next 3 games at home. While the Flyers are back on the ice Saturday hosting the Chicago Blackhawks, this continues a 5-game homestand for Philadelphia, who have dropped back-to-back games, including Wednesday night when they fell to the Carolina Hurricanes 4-1, with the Canes scoring 3 times in the third period. The Eagles play Sunday night football out in Los Angeles. They'll take on the Rams. The Eagles have won 7 of the last 8 meetings against Los Angeles. They're 8-2 this year, on top of the NFC East and riding a 6-game win streak. Los Angeles 5-5. They've won 4 of their last 5 games. The Eagles are the top rushing team in the NFL. I'm Tony Desiri, and that's your Sports Flash on 97.3 ESPN.
This Thanksgiving at Total Wine & More, find bourbons and Cabernets that you adore.
With curbside pickup available and the lowest prices for over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find. Only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow. Let's talk about the end of soggy, sloppy weather as we dry out and clear out this weekend. Showers will taper off eventually tonight. They'll end completely by daybreak tomorrow morning. Low temperature dips to around 40. Clearing out and drying out tomorrow, partly to mostly sunny and still windy and blustery, high of 52. Sun and clouds on Sunday, high 54, going for 56 on Monday. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
Tired of hearing no? Everywhere you go, we turn no into go during the Black Nissan's November sales event. Say no to high-priced new cars. Brand new matte black Nissan Sentra S, just $19,999. Say no to low trade offers. AJ the Trade Man wants your trade, no matter the make, miles, or condition. Say no to down payments. Say no to payments for 90 days. And say no to high interest rates. 60 months, 0% financing on every clearly marked new Nissan. Backed by Mad Black's 4-day love it or leave it return policy. Tired of hearing no to a discount on a new ride? New 25 Sentra S, under 20 grand.
Oh yeah, it's on at Mad Black Nissan.
Approved Tier 1 credit for NEMAC. Negative equity refinance. PIN number SY231649. MSRP 22,730 plus tax tag at $689.50. Offers can't be combined. 0% for 60 months. Call 877-289-6670 or go to MadBlackNissan.com for complete details. Offer ends 12/5/24. It's on at Mad Black Nissan on the Black Horse Pike. Egg Harbor Township.
This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
We will get to Dan and EHC and other texts a little bit later this hour at 609-403-0973. Your DMs into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. But right now, it's a football Friday, and it only feels right that Andy McNamara is joining us. And it's not just because, I mean, come on, it's football season. Andy joins us every week, but because Andy and I agreed to have Andy come on before the Cleveland Browns decided to extend their all-time record to 4-0 against the Steelers on Thursday Night Football. Andy, I'm sure you are on the highest of highs today. How you doing, my friend?
Oh, I'm as high as you can be for a team that's 3-8, Josh. That's this is pretty much my Super Bowl this year. It probably ain't gonna get much better than that. I got my Baker Mayfield inspired Cleveland Maserati shirt on with the play design when they beat Pittsburgh to make the playoffs as well. That had Ben Roethlisberger in tears on the sideline. And this week it was George Baby Pickens crying and whining and not giving. He's Juju Smith and Chase Claypool 2.0. Just the lack of professionalism that the Steelers draft wide receivers is outrageous. From Antonio Brown, once he started getting the banged up, to these bums, just how immature. It's shocking. I loved it last night. Check my Twitter out at AndyMC81 for my reaction. I had to whisper because my kids were in bed. Josh, it was phenomenal. It was great.
By the way, I think it's only 3 Browns quarterbacks who have ever beaten the Steelers twice.
Probably. There aren't many that have beaten them once, to be honest with you.
Well, because I know one of them is Baker Mayfield. That's why one is Baker
Couch?
Mayfield. No. One of them was Derek Anderson. I heard this stat the other day.
Derek Anderson.
That 1 year it was Derek Anderson to a Braylon Edwards.
2007. First year I went down to a Browns game. Sensational year.
Yeah, that was the year that they beat Mike Tomlin and the Steelers twice that year.
That's right. That's the game I was at that year. They had here's how far back it goes. Jamal Lewis as Browns running back.
Yes.
How about that? And put the boots to the Dolphins in September. What a game. It was so weird because if you watch highlights of the game, it's like you're watching 2 different games because the first half the field was green. Second half it was totally whited out. It was crazy. I knew people who were at the game. They're like, this is nuts. Like it was the wind off the Lake Erie and all. It was absolutely crazy.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, it's like there's 20 quarterbacks in total who have beaten the Steelers, but there's only like 3 of them who have done it like this century. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Are they going like we're talking expansion because Bernie Kosar would have done it, obviously.
Well, right. Yeah. It's like if you go back far enough, it's like they always beat the Steelers.
Yeah.
And then it was like, then there was the time when the Steelers got good
right.
all of a sudden. And then the Browns got good in the 80s. People forget about that. But then when you had the team come back, I mean,
not good.
No. I mean, you mentioned Tim Couch, for goodness sake. I mean, that's part of the problem.
Yeah. Well, and that offensive line. I feel bad for poor Tim. Have you seen, they had Tim Couch out to a game this year. Beginning of the Browns games, they have him smash a guitar because of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame to open and pump up the crowd. Tim Couch looks like he could play now. Like he is built. It was just his terrible offensive line back then. So do you have the names of the other ones? So we got Derek Anderson, Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, I can't find the stat right now. I'm losing.
Boy.
I wish I could find the other one, but yeah, I know there was. I know there was another one because It's probably on a piece of paper I've written on the other side of the studio. So
Yeah, you know what? We'll have to tweet that out. I'm very curious. If it's not Tim Couch, I'm very curious because not many Browns quarterbacks made it past like 1 year.
Well, that's the key. You have to have played multiple years against the Steelers. I'm sure while we have this conversation, I guarantee you I can find it by looking up the franchise index and just going year by year real quick. So let me ask you another question, another topic, okay? Which is Eagles-Rams, Sunday Night Football. So for you, Andy, who is going to be the team that is going to want this game more? And here's why I ask. Kyle Shanahan announced that Brock Purdy will not start on Sunday against the Packers. It will be Braylon Allen. So now you have two teams in unique positions. The Rams are saying, well, we have a chance to maybe win the division still because the 49ers are probably going to lose that game to the Packers.
Right.
The Eagles are saying, well, we have another opportunity to win this game because now we know if we get another NFC win, it is going to help us with the tiebreakers because at the end of the day, they can lose to the Ravens next week and it won't matter, Andy, because it's an AFC game. So who is the team that's going into Sunday night who you think wants it more?
Well, because right now we have the Eagles 5-2 conference, Lions 6-1. So you're right. It's lined up. And the Brock Purdy news, I have to make a slight fantasy lineup change when we're off the air here because that's not good. That's not good. Brock Purdy being out. Oh boy. Okay. The interesting thing is, I think, Josh, you could probably line it up to both needing and wanting it more. Now, I would say you probably have the Rams needing it more because the Eagles are getting into the playoffs no matter what. The Rams, if you don't win the division, there's a chance you don't make the wild card. You still could, but it's going to be difficult. So I'd say the Rams probably want it more because of that fact. Like they need to win. The Eagles, it's more of a nice to have.
Okay.
But so to say, I think the Eagles want to win this game big time. Don't get me wrong. But as far as like desperation, it's got like if you're the Rams, you got to be saying, okay, this is our time to make a move because the Cardinals are only 6-4.
True. Now, but here's the other part of that. So if you are a team, okay, and I'm just putting it out there in this framework, okay. If you are a team like the Eagles, with that being said, you can't go into this game being complacent, especially considering no Devontae Smith, Andy.
Yeah, well, exactly. So now you're having a Rams team that needs to win. Cooper Kupp, by the way, 2 touchdowns last game. He's back in a big way. This Rams team getting dangerous and getting healthy at the right time. Puka's kicking around too. So now if you're without Devonta Smith, now we got to think, okay, well, A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert has been coming back. He had a nice little week last week as well. You have to start spreading the ball a little bit. Do we see Jalen Hurts having to run a little bit more potentially, depending how the game plays out? You know, he can move regardless. But this could be real life and fantasy wise, Josh. I think this could be a big day for A.J. Brown and Dallas Goedert with the Smith factor being out. It's something, though, you have to make sure if you're that Eagles defense, you have to, I don't know if you can stop Cooper Kupp when he's rolling like this, but you have to try to at least contain him. Let somebody else beat you. And that very well could be Puka. So you can't contain everybody, but you have to at least try to say, okay, let's pick. We're not going to let Cooper Kupp get 2 touchdowns on us. We're not going to let Cooper Kupp score. And let's play around that. Because with Devonta Smith out, I think you want to try to limit the maybe having to get into a shootout factor.
Yeah, but let me ask you this, because we know that Kupp and Nakua both take turns lining up in the slot.
Yeah.
So it's not like you can just assign, or could you? Could you just go into the game and be like, Quinyon Mitchell, you got Cooper Kupp, Cooper DeJean, you got Puka Nakua, Darius Slay. Just don't let Robinson score a touchdown.
Yeah, makes sense to me. Like, the thing is, we have to remember, not that we'd forget, but that Matthew Stafford isn't mobile, right? Like, so it's not you don't say. Just it. It's not like with the Jalen Hurts factor where you also have to worry about, okay, we're going to stop this guy. Oh, and put a spy on the QB because he can beat us with his legs. Matthew Stafford's going to be back in the pocket. He's going to be back there if he gets hit. He's going to be back there if he gets the ball out on time. But he's going to be there. So That's the difference in this game plan. I think if you're the Eagles, you just have to. I think the matchups in the game plan you just laid out in the simplest form makes sense. Do that. Don't get beat on that deep bomb to Robinson to cap off the other two. And let's not forget the running game of the Rams has been pretty good this year too.
Talk with Andy McNamara at AndyMC81 on the Twitter X platform. He is the host of the Sick Podcast. Download and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, or also on YouTube. By the way, I'm getting closer to finding out who this quarterback is, because I've already gone through
nice.
2000 to 2009 Brown years. So
darn bad years. The only good there's two good years. 2002 when they made the playoffs with Tim Couch and Kelly Holcomb. I know it wasn't Kelly Holcomb. And 2007 when they missed on a tiebreaker, Derek Anderson, Braylon Edwards year. And Kellen Winslow Jr., who then I think he's in jail now.
He is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I wasn't gonna bring that up, but you did.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Another great Browns moment.
Dun. Another one bites the dust.
Woo-wee. That's right. I love DA. Oh, that was a good year.
But back to the Eagles-Rams game. When you're looking around the league right now, and you know a team like the Rams is that high-powered, but you also know a team like the Eagles, since their bye week, is only allowing 11 points per game. They've allowed the fewest total yards in the NFL, but you have a Rams team that is averaging a touchdown more per game in the last 5 games than their previous 5 games. Well, guess what? What are they, Andy? 5-5. So obviously they are a team that has shown you that they have had all their success recently.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like an unstoppable force versus an immovable object, right?
That's right. The old Andre the Giant Hulk Hogan WrestleMania 3 phrase, right? I knew you were pulling it from there. I knew it. and that's going to be the beauty, I think, of this matchup. How does this line up? Well, and really, what does that Devonta Smith absence mean to these teams? Because you can look at it overall, but like you said, the Rams, they won their last game. They've been hot as of late. So that minus 26 point differential doesn't mean that much to me. It's okay. Well, how are you doing now? And I think this is really an important game for the Eagles, not just that conference tiebreak potential, like you said, which is very important, but also while I think the Washington Commanders are starting to even out, they're starting to even out more of what, okay, it was a fun ride. They'll even, but they're still 7-4 and you're 8-2. Like we can't just assume that the division is fully locked up yet. So yeah, you have to keep going and keep that 6-game win streak on track. And look, you can beat the Rams, but we've also seen with that team, like you said, you get rolling, you get those two guys a little momentum, even against that great Eagles defense. It's a lot to stop. You just need that one little slip. Oops. Someone got Slay got his foot tangled. Robinson's gone. Now you're in trouble.
And by the way, though, the Washington plays the Cowboys this week, so that's an easy win.
That's a dub. Cowboys. Oh, let's keep this madness going. I'm praying, Josh, to the football gods that we have Jerry Jones totally off the leash and we see Mike McCarthy fired, Jerry Jones hire Deion Sanders. Then they move up in the draft to go get Shedeur Sanders, and Jerry forgets he signed after that big extension, and it's total chaos. I want that. How fun would that be? That would just be put a camera and 24/7 footage of that team. My goodness.
The only problem with that, Andy, is we already know that Jerry Jones has been overruled in the draft room in the past.
In the past. He hasn't been this crazy for a long time, though. In season, Josh, he's getting extra crazy. He's trying to get talk show hosts fired.
But now he's older, so it's kind of like maybe you can, just kick him out of the room and he's just drunk. He's being Jerry,
Or he's got nothing to lose. He's like, I'm getting older. I got to do things my way. I've been held back. Jerry Jones, you've been held back. You've been held back. You've been held back by your kids. They're trying to keep you down, man. Come on. Let's go full Jerry. Let's go.
I mean, Jerry wanted to draft Johnny Manziel, and his son told him no. Remember that?
Oh, I know. I really wish he had. That would have worked out much better for me. That would have worked out much better. Yeah. That was a smart move. Maybe I think after that too, we saw mellow Jerry for a number of years because he's probably was like, ooh, actually, that was a really good decision. Sunday,
Right.
But now that's a long time ago. Come on. Let's get Dion in there. Let's make it a party.
So you brought it up, so I'll put it out there. So I am of the opinion that I think Dion would not work in the NFL.
I agree.
Because I think that, because here's part of the reason why. I read his book, the book that came out earlier this year. Okay.
Oh, okay.
His basically, it's, he goes, his number was 21. So it's like, his 21 principles, of life. So, and in the book, it basically, if you read through the book and you watch his press conferences and you see the way he tweets and Instagrams and all that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
You realize that here's the problem with Deion Sanders. He's great for young men.
Mm-hmm.
He's not as great for grown men.
Right.
Because young men, you can do all these motivational tactics, you need to grow up. We're going to be men. We're going to play football. Like, you can do that in high school and college.
Do it together, yeah.
In the NFL, there's a lot more Andy Reid, Phil Jackson massaging of egos going on. And I don't know if Dion has that in his DNA to be a massager. I think he's more of an alpha type who walks in a room and tells you what's up.
Right. And we've seen it so many times. And it's not a bad thing. It's just, what are you better at doing? Like, look at Nick Saban, for example, right? Horrible NFL. One of the best all time in college. Multiple others. So now Urban Meyer's another one. Oof. But now you look at the Deion Sanders factor of, you have the young guys. And the thing I always think about in college, the kids on a college team have to listen to the coach because they have so much control over their pro career. If you don't listen to what I say, I will bench you and you will not get drafted, or it will cost you millions of dollars. So guess what? You're listening to me. Thanks, pal. And you can get that motivation of young men coming together, growing up. But in the NFL, unless he goes to a place where, I don't even know what place it would be, but if there was a place where it was, if there's a place, I'm just trying to, like a situation where it was like a total teardown, they were building through the draft, and you had an influx of really young players, maybe that would work for a bit. But maybe. I'm with you. I think he is much better suited to the college game, probably, quite frankly, right where he is.
Listen, I think he's perfect for Colorado. It's a program that respects people like Dion.
Mm-hmm.
They're not a hands-on football program. It's hey, we haven't been good since the 90s, so we're just happy with anything, almost kind of culture. What's that?
Get attention. And didn't they recruit the second overall, like the next quarter, prospect quarterback?
Hell, he's already replaced the quarterback. He already replaced his son. He's got that kid, Lewis.
Yeah, he's got it right there. I think it would, personally, I think it'd be foolish for Dion to go. And, who knows? Maybe they can make the college playoffs. Like, how crazy would that be with the 12 teams now?
Listen, they have a really good chance at winning the Big 12. A really good chance.
That'd be wild. If that would increase his value exponentially. But I'm totally with you. I think that goes, his persona and all that would get old in the NFL, especially if stuff didn't go well or you ran into trouble. That gets old quick. Sort of like the Dan Campbell stuff, except he's different, of course. But like, if things weren't going well in Detroit, those players eventually be like, guys, shut up. Enough, right? Enough. But when it's going good, you get momentum going and it works and you feed off and it's awesome. And Dan Campbell's doing a great job. But with Dion, I kind of see like a bit of a similar thing. Like, that shtick will get old really quick in the pros if it doesn't go well. Whereas college, you have turnover. You have young player turnover. And you have turnover every year in the NFL, but college even more so. And like I said, you got to listen to him or he can affect your draft status.
Yeah, and I think the other thing, and we got other football things to get to here. I think the reason why Dan Campbell works is because he's less of a, I'm here to tell you what to do, and more of a, I'm here to tell you how it can be done.
Right. Yeah. And build you up and have it. Yeah. And not more of a motivator from that sense. I see what you mean. Not like, follow me. I'll show you, young man. It's like, no. You guys are great. And I'm going to put you in positions to be great.
Correct. And I think that's the difference. The difference is being, you're not the guy who is saying, I'm the leader of men. You're the guy who already is the leader of men. Because in the college level, you got to tell people. You got to inform them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like 18, 19 years old. Come on. Yeah.
You know, and the other problem in the NFL is you have people like Micah Parsons who think that their team is better than they are. Like Micah Parsons keeps telling everybody the Cowboys have a good defense. They have a lot of talent. And it's like, dude, no, they don't. No, they don't. You know, but
They
he
have
doesn't get
you,
that.
Micah Parsons. That's about it. He's the talent. They got him. Not sure what else. Jeez.
Andy, a couple more before I let you go. Obviously, we are approaching the final weeks for the fantasy football playoffs for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So, you know, looking into this weekend, who are some players or matchups that you're keeping an eye on?
Boy, well, first of all, this is the bye Mageddon week. You get a couple each fantasy year, 6 teams on bye. Oh my gosh, like this is tough, right? Like we're looking at Falcons, Bills, Bengals, Saints, Jets, Jaguars, all off. So if you're looking for the waiver wire, razor thin, and that's why you got to be following at AndyMC81 at Sick Pod Browns and subscribe to the YouTube channel, Sick Podcast with Andy McNamara. A couple guys that if it was a full slate, I probably wouldn't recommend, but with it not being a full slate, I can kind of get behind. So we're let me see here. Okay, so Audric Estime for the Denver Broncos is one. Will Dissly, tight end, is another.
I mean, you had to pause to even say the guy's name.
I know.
That's how low. That's how probably low he is on the list.
It's not great. Nick Westbrook, Ekine for the Titans, I actually think is a sneaky flex play. He's got touchdowns 5 of the last 6 games. And so is he touchdown dependent? Yes. But he's got 5 in the last 6. So it's happening. And they're finding him. And he has had the odd games where he's getting 5-6 targets. He's also had the games where he gets 2 catches and one's a big one. He had 2 catches for like 100-something yards last week. What I'm saying is it's ugly out there. But if you need somebody who can pop in and at least has been displaying that they are producing and the offense is going to them, Westbrook Ekine is somebody that you could go to this week. The running back spot is a total schmoz. Roshan Johnson I have starting in one of my leagues because under the Bears' new offensive coordinator, we saw only 1 week sample, but we saw a refocus on the running game to take the pressure off of Caleb Williams. So Swift and Johnson both got increased touches, specifically Johnson. So to me, again, in a desperate fantasy spot, Roshan Johnson gives me a chance at least because it's been shown 1 week to produce, whereas you can just run through a list of names of guys who's going to get you 4 fantasy points and that's it.
Well, I got to let you know, we have spent about 20 minutes of me scouring every Browns season versus the Steelers in the last century.
Yeah.
And I learned the hard way, Andy.
A lot of names.
Well, I already knew that, okay? It's a technicality question.
Right. Oh.
So the answer is Brian Hoyer. But he only won one of them with the Browns. The other wins against Steelers are with other teams.
Oh, so probably Patriots or something.
Patriots and Colts.
Wow.
Apparently, if I'm reading this list right, basically Brian Hoyer is like the best quarterback against the Steelers who is not a good quarterback.
Who has ever lived. I'll tell you, the Brian Hoyer era, that's another shame that Jerry Jones didn't get the Johnny Manziel wish, because Johnny Manziel's presence just completely nosedived that season when they were 7-4 and Hoyer was cooking. There was a stretch where he was actually looking real good in that season, and now it's and then it went down like most Brown seasons. But so it would be Baker Mayfield, and who knows, maybe if Jameis plays the Steelers again in 2 weeks.
That's true.
Could be Jameis on the list.
Oh, can you imagine the spoiler role that game would be?
Phenomenal. And the Jameis, like, I just love.
Really quick, I gotta go to break. Does anyone love football more than Jameis Winston?
No, I was gonna say I just love how he totally freestyles his like motivation. He has like a vague idea where he wants to end up, but he'll just like it's great. It's like, oh, well, horses go to war, but God gives. I'm like, I don't know what you're saying, but I'm pumped up about it. He's throwing snowballs. He's having a great time. Football was fun. It's fun. It was fun to win that game. So maybe Jameis can add his name to that list.
I mean, it's just so Hilarious. Because I remember I'm watching the you see the, for those who didn't see it, go look it up on online. Like,
It's great.
literally, Jameis is like, he's trying to be motivational. He's trying to preach. He's talking about how he loves snow because he's from the South. It's like
His
all
first snow
these
game.
things. And he's like, where I'm from, there we don't have snow. This is amazing. Like, he was a kid in the candy store, and then the touchdown run last night. I mean,
The
holy
battery popped
cow.
out of his helmet.
Yeah.
There's like batteries popping out of his head. He's running the ball in. He's throwing interceptions. He's fumbling. They're running. It was a wild snow globe game, and I'm just glad that the Browns were able to beat them and go for it. And I'll tell you, quick prediction: I think the Eagles win this game against the Rams. What's the line? I think it's close though, Josh. I think we're maybe under 7. What is it? 3. It's 3 points for Eagles. I'll say Eagles by a touchdown.
Obviously, the last thing I saw was 3. So
Yeah, I'm looking at 3 right now on ESPN. I think Eagles road touchdown, make a statement, and put a nice lock on that NFC East.
All right, Andy, always appreciate jumping on, and I'll be on your show this Sunday morning, correct?
That's right, 10 a.m. Eastern on YouTube live. And Josh and I will take you through. We'll tee up the matchups, do our best bets, parlay, party, fantasy football start sit. So have some fun with us. Jump in the chat. We love that. Subscribe, jump in there, and then on X at SickPodBrowns, at AndyMC81, and Instagram at AndyMC Sports. So 10 a.m. Eastern Sunday. Let's go.
By the way, would Andy McNamara like to guess which Browns quarterback has the most passing touchdowns all time versus? Because apparently I can't find wins and losses, but I can find everything else.
Against who? The Steelers?
Against the Steelers.
The most touchdown passes in since 99.
All time.
Oh, all time. I'll say Bernie Kosar.
Bernie is actually 4th on this list. It's
Oh.
Brian Sipe.
Oh, so I have Sipe's jersey, 1980 MVP. I have it signed by owner Jimmy Haslam. It's weird.
Ready for this? Sipe has 25 passing touchdowns in his career as a Browns quarterback versus the Steelers. Kosar only had 10.
Really?
Yeah.
And they beat him like 53-0 one time in a home opener in 89. Interesting. I know all of the anti-Steeler stats I can throw at you. Let me tell you that, my friend. Let me tell you that. How about that? Go Sipe. What a stud. 1980 MVP. Let's go.
I thought you'd appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you. That makes me feel extra good. Victory. Now I get to sit back, enjoy the games, and not worry about the Browns until they suit up against the Broncos next time.
Yeah, and what's the whiskey again?
Oh, got Cleveland whiskey right here, my man. Got Cleveland whiskey. Yep, my guys there. They hooked me up. Cleveland whiskey. We're all good to go, brother. And Stadium mustard.
All the plugs. All the plugs.
All the plugs. Is there anything else I got? I don't know. Horse racing at my Railbirds. There you go.
At AndyMC81 on the Twitter X platform as well. So
that's right. Okay.
I gotta go.
I'll see you.
I'm late for the break, my friend.
Okay.
I'll see you later.
Talk to you soon. See you Sunday. Bye-bye.
I mean, Andy and I really should have our own podcast, honestly. Josh Hennig in the Ocean Casino Resort Studios here on 97.3 ESPN. We'll wrap up the Power Hour and get you ready for Sixers tonight. 7 o'clock on 97.3 ESPN.
It's Sixers basketball tonight on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the Sixers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
Sherrod down the lane. Sherrod with a layup up. Remy, good. Sherrod McCain right down Broad Street. And a foul.
It's Sixers Nets tonight. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. It's Sixers basketball all season long on South Jersey's radio home for Philadelphia 76ers basketball. 97.3 ESPN.
Your luxury BMW experience is closer than you think. Take advantage of exceptional savings at BMW of Atlantic City. Stop in and shop your favorite models, including the new BMW 2 Series, X3, and more. We're sure to have a vehicle that fits your needs. And with Acceleride, purchase your vehicle online and we'll deliver it directly to you. Looking to trade? We'll pay top dollar for your current vehicle. Experience luxury today at BMW of Atlantic City, closer than you think. In Egg Harbor Township, shop our complete inventory online at bmwatlanticcity.com.
Medicare is making important changes in 2025. It's time to think about what benefits you need. AmeriHealth can help with monthly premiums as low as $0. Dental, vision, and hearing. No referrals, plus prescription drug coverage. AmeriHealth has been serving New Jersey residents for 30 years. Visit AmeriHealthMedicare.com/help25 today. AmeriHealth offers PPO Medicare Advantage plans with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in AmeriHealth PPO Medicare Advantage plans depends on contract renewal.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
I think my battery's dead. With free battery testing and charging, we can help you get back on the road.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
So what if I need a new one? We have the right Duralast battery for you, only at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
And what about my old battery? We can recycle it right here at America's #1 battery destination.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Go to get your game on at the Gallery Bar Book and Games at Ocean Casino Resort. Cheers your favorite drinks while cheering on your favorite team. Get in on the parlay while in the middle of a party. Go for the sports scene and go for the endless screams. Go to the Gallery. Go to the Fanatic Sportsbook. Go for the win at Ocean Casino Resort. For more information, visit theoceanac.com. Must be 21 or older to wager or consume alcohol. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Oh no, my phone.
Hear that? It's the sound of a skater dropping her phone and smashing it on the ice. Yep, it's definitely broken. But at Verizon, we got you. Black Friday starts now. Trade in any phone, any condition from one of our top brands and get a new Samsung Galaxy S24 Plus on Unlimited Ultimate and Watch 7 and Tab S9 FE 5G. That's up to $1,900 in value. So you'll save big on 3 great gifts. Hurry into Verizon this Black Friday. Service plan required for Watch and Tab. Up to $1,900 value based on phone, watch, and tablet. Trade in and additional terms apply. See Verizon.com for details.
With GMF financing to qualify buyers excludes Traverse and Corvette excludes prior sales.
Why wait for Black Friday when the biggest Black Friday sale is going on now all month long at Bennett Chevrolet, where you can save up to 20% and more on your new vehicle. Because Bennett is selling new vehicles at $1,000 below, yes, $1,000 below the real GM supplier employee price. Plus, you keep all the rebates, saving you up to 20%. But of course, there's more with available 0% financing. Looking for you? Bennett's giving a minimum $10,000, a minimum $10 grand for your trade, no matter its condition, towards any pre-owned in stock. Imagine what you'll get for a good trade if Bennett's paying a minimum $10 grand for total junk. Bennett's deals are unbeatable during our Black Friday sales event, and there's never any hassles or sales pressure because our non-commissioned sales staff is paid on your satisfaction, not how much you spend. The best Black Friday sales going on now at Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
At the Home Depot, the holidays have arrived.
And so is all my family. So I'm working on keeping up with the laundry.
The Home Depot is here to help with Black Friday savings up to 40% off select appliances. Spend less time doing laundry with smart, efficient appliances from Samsung, ranked #1 in customer satisfaction.
Perfect. Less laundry time means more family time.
Get Black Friday savings now with free delivery and financing on select appliances at the Home Depot. Visit jdpower.com/awards for more details. Offer valid November 6th through December 4th. U.S. only. See store or online for details.
The best call to make on game day is ordering catering from the Piccalilli Inn. For parties big or small, the Pick does it all. Your guests will be cheering for the Pick spin on football favorites like pulled pork nachos, cheesesteaks, burgers, and their award-winning buffalo wings, tails, and ears. Get your chicken wing fix on Route 206 at the Piccalilli Inn. Join the flock and follow the Pick on Facebook or at Piccalilli.com for their Pick game specials. And be sure to pre-order to guarantee your spot in Sunday's lineup.
I got a line.
He got a line.
She got a line.
We got 4 lines. Cricket Nation. Q finger guns. Really easy. Super stress-free. 5G so fast. Like blazing fast. Games and memes. You'll have a blast. You can get fast 5G across 4 lines. You can get fast 5G across 4 lines. As we discuss, take it from us. We 4 are 1. Cricket Nation.
And only $25 a line. Welcome to more lines. Welcome to Cricket Nation. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Cricket 5G requires a compatible device and is not available everywhere. Discount varies by line. Fees may apply. Terms and restrictions apply. See cricketwireless.com for details.
Tired of hearing no? Everywhere you go, we turn no into go during Matt Nissan's November sales event. Say no to high-priced new cars. Brand new Matt Nissan Sentra S, just $19,999. Say no to low trade offers. AJ the Trade Man wants your trade, no matter the make, miles, or condition. Say no to down payments. Say no to payments for 90 days. And say no to high interest rates. 60 months, 0% financing on every clearly marked new Nissan. Backed by Matt Blatt's 4-day love it or leave it return policy. Tired of hearing no to a discount on a new ride? New 25 Sentra S, under 20 grand.
Oh yeah, it's on at Matt Black Nissan.
Approved Tier 1 credit for New Bank. Negative equity financed. PIN number SY231649. MSRP 22,730 plus tax tag at $689.8. Offers can't be combined. 0% for 60 months. Call 877-289-6670 or go to MedBlackNissan.com for complete details. Offer ends 12/5/24. Nissan at Matt Black Nissan on the Black Horse Pike. Egg Harbor Township.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and on the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
All right, before we get out of here, Sixers tonight on 97.3 ESPN. I did want to get in here really quick. I do think the Eagles win on Sunday Night Football. I like them to cover the 2.5. I think the Eagles win the game. It was something like 28-21. I think they're going to continue to. I think they're going to continue to score a lot of points. I really do. By the way, Joel Embiid has been ruled out, so he will not be playing tonight when the Sixers take on the Nets. Tom McGinnis next on 97.3 ESPN. A couple other picks I do like this weekend. I do like Army to cover the 14.5 against Notre Dame. It is a neutral site game. I think that is a huge part of this conversation. And remember, Navy, if they didn't turn the ball over 4 times, they could have potentially beaten Notre Dame. I'm Josh Hennig. Have a great weekend, everybody.
97.3 ESPN is.
All right, for the YouTube-only crowd, you're going to get the full dose of the picks here on Game Night, 97.3 ESPN. If the folks out there watching on the stream can just give me just an extra minute here. I got to do a little bit of maneuvering of some items. So just give me 1 minute here. I got to move a couple items because Andy McNamara and I went a little late. So we're going to move a couple of elements around. For those of you who have always wondered, like, what is Josh doing at his job all day long? Well, I basically program the radio station. So you can either thank me or hate me for what you hear on 97.3 ESPN because Mike Gill points, I make things happen, and that's how you run a radio station. So there we go. All right. Now we got my attention. So if you are watching on my YouTube channel, you know what time it is. Football Friday picks at Josh Hennig. YouTube, like, subscribe, share with your friends. We do a deeper dive into the information for the football weekend. So, big gulp of my tea today. Maybe someday I'll actually get around to doing a podcast about all the teas and different things that I drink. So I was always told I need to do a mixology podcast, so maybe one day that'll happen. But for tonight, we're just stick with the football here. So back to the Eagles. We are 93-63-2 on the year on the football picks. So I want to start with the Eagles. So the reason why I think the Eagles are going to win the game, they're going to cover the 2.5, is 2 reasons. One, because I don't think the Rams are defensively good enough to stop the Eagles. They might be good enough to slow them down for some drives here or there, but I think overall the Eagles are not just a better team than the Rams. I think the Eagles, their defense is significantly better than the Rams. And while I think that the Rams will score some points in the game because Matthew Stafford, Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, Demarcus Robinson, there's a lot of talent on that. Kyron Williams, as Andy McNamara mentioned about 20 minutes ago, there's a lot of talent on that team. But I think at the end of the day, the Eagles have more talent. And 9 times out of 10, talent wins in matchups like this. So for me, I like the Eagles cover the 2.5. I think they win. And I think it's going to be another big game for Saquon Barkley. Because I think the Eagles are going to do what they did on Thursday football. I think they will stick with the run. So I tend to believe that's what's going to happen there. So, all right. A couple other NFL picks for you. First of all, we got for you my
Stone Cold Lock of the Century. Oh, the week.
Chiefs at Panthers. Chiefs defense coming off of that loss to the Bills. Kansas City wants to get back on track. We all know that. okay? We all know what this game is about. This is a get-right game for Kansas City against Carolina Panthers. Give me the Panthers under team total 15.5. I think the Panthers are going to have a ton of struggle. They're going to have a hard time, I should say, and struggle against the Kansas City Chiefs defense. That defense is legit. They're one of the best defenses in all of football. I think they're going to shut down the Panthers. So give me team total under for the Panthers in my
Stone Cold Lock of the Century. Oh, the week.
Speaking of team totals.
Let's get it. Another one. Another one. Another one.
Give me the Washington Commanders team total, 28.5. We're going to go over on that. Cowboys at Washington. The Dallas team is just a bad football team right now. I don't care what Jerry Jones or Micah Parsons say. It's a bad football team. They're not playing well. I have zero confidence in that team to do anything, really. So, for me, I look at that game and I see a team that is just bad. And I think Washington, they've had a lot of days off. I think Jaden Daniels will be much healthier going into this matchup. So for me, 20.5 sounds like a good number. Remember, the Cowboys defense is allowing, on average, over 28 points per game. I think Washington, like the Eagles, will get there. Give me the over on that number. Final NFL pick for you guys. Texans are going to have their second week with Nico Collins. And I think that there's going to be an overcorrection by teams who are playing the Texans. I think that you are looking at a situation where Nico Collins did not have a big game last week. Last week was the Joe Mixon game. And so I'm looking at this matchup, and I see a Texans team that has leaned heavily on the run before Collins returned. And now they're going against a Tennessee team that has no L'Jarius Sneed for the game. He has been ruled out. Excuse me. So you're without your best corner. If the game's in Houston, I think Nico Collins is going to score a touchdown, plus 120, anytime touchdown for Nico Collins. I think this is the game that Nico Collins will have a good game because, one, Tennessee is shorthanded defensively, and two, as I said, I think teams are going to start overplaying to stop Joe Mixon. I think they're going to start trying too hard to stop the Texans' running game, and as a result, I think Nico Collins is going to get at least one touchdown, plus 120. So that's the NFL picks. Now, to college. I mentioned this on the radio on 97.3 ESPN. Maybe it's a little bit of, you know what? Why not?
Stone Cold Lock of the Century. Oh, the week.
I will not get over the fact. I will never forgive Navy for having 4 turnovers. I mean, Navy hasn't had a 4-turnover game in like a decade. They have it in their biggest game of the year against Notre Dame, and frankly has actually put them on a precipitous slide ever since. They have been falling apart left and right. They are just not a good team anymore as Navy. Navy got smashed by Tulane at home. They are falling apart, but ever since they had those 4 turnovers, they could have made a competitive game with Notre Dame. Notre Dame had half their points off of the 4 turnovers by Navy. Army is a better football team they have shown this year than Navy. Army plus 14.5, neutral site, Yankee Stadium. You don't think Army is going to look back at the Navy game and say, we could do better than those guys? We could beat these guys? Yeah. I'm not saying they will beat them, but I think they will cover the 14.5. And that is my college football
Stone Cold Lock of the Century. Oh, the week.
Also, as a side prop, if you're somebody who likes to parlay numbers together, I wouldn't mind teasing the over-under for Army-Navy, for Army Notre Dame, and the plus 14.5. So, like, if you're someone who gets You parlay them together and you take like Army, like, I don't know, 16.5, and then take the over under and add a couple points to it. I think there's some value there as well. I think that Army and Notre Dame are going to have a low scoring game for the most part. The problem with the over under is, and it's one of those deals where, of course, I don't know where my phone is right now. But one of the problems, and my notes are on my phone. That's why they're not all on this sheet, which is a bad job by me. The sheet of integrity only has the picks. They don't have the notes on them. But no, what I'm trying to say is that when you look at this game and you start like running some numbers and like do a little analytics, you realize that the over under for this game, it's one of those math problems. And you guys know how I feel about math problems. 45.5 is a weird number for two reasons. One, because you're looking at an Army team that has had multiple games where they themselves have scored a bunch of points, but the other team hasn't. But in the games they haven't scored a lot of points, those have been low-scoring games. I'm just going to pull up the Army schedule real quick just to give an example. So, yeah, here it is. So, the low-scoring games that Army has played: Air Force, they beat 20-3. North Texas, they beat 14-3. Earlier in the year, they beat Florida Atlantic 24-7. Those were all games that were low-scoring. But Army also didn't score a lot of points. Whereas the games that hit the over, those are the games Army scored. 42 points, 37, 42, 49, 44, 45. Those were all high-scoring games because Army made it high-scoring. I think that's where, at least for me, the delineation is that when Army has a high-scoring game, that's when the number typically hits over. Meanwhile, I don't even know what Notre Dame is as a football team. I think they are a very good defense, but this is a team that they beat Texas A&M week 1. They lost to North Illinois week 2. Now, have they lost a game since? No. Have they covered the spread almost every game since that loss? Yes. But come on. Look at some of these teams they beat. They beat up on Purdue. They beat up on Miami of Ohio. Stanford. They beat up on a Navy team that turned the ball over 4 times. They beat up on Florida State. They beat up on Virginia. These are not good football teams. The best team that they played since their loss to Northern Illinois was Louisville. They only won 34-24. That's a 7-point difference. I think this is going to be a much harder game than Notre Dame thinks, and that's why I am leaning with the 14.5 in that game. All right. Other games I do like this weekend. I am looking forward to this Texas A&M Auburn matchup for 2 reasons. One, because both of these teams have big rivalry games next weekend. So, which of these teams do I expect a bigger letdown from? Well, I expect a bigger letdown from Auburn. Auburn's season is cooked. I think Auburn realizes that they are DOA right now. They're having a bad season. The only game they care about at this point is their upcoming game with Alabama. That's the big rivalry game. That's the game that they are going to want to win the most. I think Texas A&M is way more interested in winning this game than Auburn is. I think Auburn is way more interested in making life miserable for their rivals in Tuscaloosa. That Auburn-Alabama game almost every year is a close game. So I think Texas A&M, they know that if they win this game, they are in the driver's seat for a massive showdown next weekend. And they say, look, let's go to Auburn and beat that 4-6 team decisively. So then we are 9-2, and we go up against one of our biggest rivals in college football history. The rivalry between Texas and Texas A&M is almost 100 years old. These are 2 schools and people forget sometimes, Texas is a large state. So if you're driving from Austin, Texas to College Station, that is not like driving from Philadelphia to New York or from Boston to New York. No, we're talking about like the equivalent of driving from like Philadelphia to Atlanta, okay? This is a long drive, but these are two schools that have historically battled for the same loyalties in that state, the same recruits, the same types of people, the same fans. I mean, you have numerous famous people on both sides who are going to both schools, and both schools have reputations, sports-wise, community-wise, culturally. I don't think Texas A&M, I think Texas A&M does not want to lose the Auburn game because they know it will diminish their matchup with Texas. And then look at Texas. They are ranked number 3 in the country. They have only had one loss this year. Texas A&M would love to give them their second loss. So give me Texas minus 2.5 at Auburn because I think they are more motivated than Auburn is. Plus, I think the loss they had at South Carolina 2 weeks ago is still burning them. And I don't think they want to go on the road to another SEC opponent and lose again. All right. Couple more picks for you. Hey, you know what?
Come on, let's get nuts.
Look, I'm on the Colorado train. You guys know I have been getting a lot of these Colorado picks right this year. Last year, I got them right, too, for the opposite reason. I picked against them in some of those games. But, look, I wouldn't be, but you want to be the person who throws a little side wager on Colorado to win the Big 12 right now. I told Andy McNamara earlier, I think they can win the Big 12, make the college football playoff, and you know the TV executives would love that. TV executives would give away whatever they got. They would sell their homes. They would give away their favorite cars. They would even think about, you want to marry my daughter? Like, they would do anything they can, because if they can get Deion Sanders in Colorado on national television for the college football playoff, big ratings, big money, big everything from the Big 12. Colorado at Kansas. I'm not reading into the Kansas BYU game heavily last week. I really am not. Kansas has been a grotesque disappointment this year. They have been the most disappointing team in all of college football. This is a team that has a ton of talent, and they have barely lived up to it this year. They are the most talented 4-6 team I have ever seen in my life. They have a ton of talent, and they went on one of the worst losing streaks I have ever seen. That Illinois game put them just on the wrong railroad tracks for the rest of the season, because they could not get out of their own way for multiple weeks. They struggled against UNLV. And that was when UNLV was going through that transition with different quarterbacks, right? UNLV is much better now than back then. They struggled against West Virginia and lost to an inferior West Virginia team. They lost to an inferior TCU team. They lost to an inferior Arizona State team. And I'm supposed to act like the BYU game is a defining moment? No. No, not at all. Look, I understand that Kansas has kind of found themselves again recently. I understand they've won 3 of the last 4 games. All right? But Colorado is on a roll right now. Colorado is firing on all cylinders. You got Travis Hunter going for that Heisman Trophy, trying to be the first non-quarterback to win the most important award in college football since Charles Woodson in 97 or 98? I forget exactly what year. But Charles Woodson was the last one. Colorado minus 2.5. I don't know why this number is so low. I feel like people are overvaluing Kansas's win against BYU, and they're devaluing Colorado's win against Utah last week. So you know what?
Now you want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts.
Also, Vanderbilt plus 7.5 at LSU. Anyone who follows college football has seen the video of the head coach of the LSU Tigers, Brian Kelly, screaming at his players on the sideline. I don't care what the players or Brian Kelly said the rest of the week. I'm telling you guys right now, that is a program that is in disarray. LSU, another great team that has fallen from grace, even more so than Kansas, because Kansas was kind of like a nice little football team with some underrated talent. LSU's got 5-star recruits. They got 5-star players. They got elite talent down there. Vanderbilt, they have been the legend killers. They have been taking people out left and right. They have made this year miserable for so many people. You don't think Vanderbilt wants to add another name to that list? Of course they do. Of course they do. Vanderbilt's looking around like, well, if you guys don't get along, we'll beat you. It's fine. It's not a big deal. There's a reason why this game has been relegated to the SEC network. It's because LSU is falling apart. And you're talking about a Vanderbilt team that they win one more game. They don't just guarantee themselves a good bowl game. They guarantee themselves respectability across that conference. This is a Vanderbilt team that took out Alabama. They took down multiple schools. I mean, they made Kentucky look bad earlier this year. They lost to Missouri in overtime. That was when Missouri was healthy, by the way. They made a close game with Texas. This is a Vanderbilt team that is going to make life miserable for LSU. I like them to cover the plus 7.5. I really do. Finally, I got to tell you guys, I don't even know why this game I'm picking it. I feel like I don't have... You know how sometimes in life you just have a feeling that something is a good or bad idea? And you don't know until it happens that your instinct was right. We've all been in a situation where we have like a gut feeling, maybe I shouldn't go to this party. Or like we have a gut feeling that's like, maybe I shouldn't go to that store. Maybe I should go to that store instead. And you end up finding the item you're looking for, right? Maybe you turn down a different street and you're like, I don't know why. I feel like I should turn down the street. And then you drive by later and see there's a car accident or something. Like sometimes in life, you just have a feeling and you just got to trust it and thank God later that the bad thing didn't happen. I have no statistical reason for why I am picking Utah to cover the 7, except for the fact that I know as well as anyone that home teams cover in college football. Home teams cover. Utah is a very physical football team. Iowa State is a very physical football team. In those situations, when you have a rock fight, give me the home team in the rock fight. Utah barely lost to BYU, barely lost to Houston, barely lost to TCU. Close game with Arizona State. That's all during a losing streak. Before the losing streak, they were 4-0. They've had some tough outcomes this year. But guess what? You're going to be naming a bunch of games. Arizona State, Houston, those are all on the road. This game's at home. I think Utah and Kyle Whittingham would like the role of spoiler. And right now, they can spoil things for an Iowa State team that thinks they are in the driver's seat to potentially play Colorado in the Big 12 championship. And right now, they need this game. And sometimes when you have a desperate athlete, they can be taken advantage of. And I think Utah can take advantage of them. So give me Utah plus 7. By the way, college football this year, we are 86-52. So that's the picks. Thank you for watching the extended version of the Football Friday picks on my YouTube channel at Josh Hennig. Like, subscribe, share with your friends. I appreciate all of you who hit the like button, comment on the channel, share it with people. I've always said, the purpose of my YouTube channel is to educate, inform, have fun with sports, other topics, elevate conversation. You know, I'm not here to gravitate. Sorry, not gravitate. Another word I'm looking for. I'm not here to cater. That's a better word. To low-minded people. I'm not here to feed into people's emotions. I'm here to help all of you see what I see when it comes to sports and when it comes to life. And I think in many ways, sports is a reflection of life and vice versa. So we try to educate, give you information and content, because at the end of the day, even when the picks are wrong, the analysis is legitimate. And so you can learn from when you get the picks wrong, like I do. Listen, I don't hit it 60% plus every year because I'm a genius. I hit it 60% plus every year because I learn from my mistakes. I grow, I evolve, I figure it out. And so I want the same thing for everybody else. I want everybody else to say, hey, why was I wrong? Let's learn from it. Now, look, if you're someone who doesn't want to learn from your mistakes, then this isn't the YouTube channel for you. If you don't want to have a deeper conversation than he's stupid, he stinks, I'm not the guy for you. But if you want real sports, real life conversation, you get it here on my YouTube channel at Josh Hennig. Like, subscribe, share with your friends. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the night. Be safe out there. I'll catch you next time.